Ooh, and the Empire marches on with Super Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back for the Super Nintendo. Welcome to CFM Radio.
Juxtaposed on top of the Dragon Ball Gekishin Squadra B-roll we've got going on. It is a very spacey Wednesday. Drix, how you doing tonight?
Dude, I'm doing great. Still flying high after sitting in with Skatsune Miku last Friday. If you haven't heard of them, check them out. They do a lot of fun ska covers with your favorite Vocaloid princess, Hatsune Miku. And yeah, we were covering The Pillows from FLCL, doing songs from the Fooly Cooly soundtrack. So yeah, that was an amazing night. You may or may not have heard a little bit about that on the internet if you follow me and all my musical adventures, and yeah, keeping my pinball chops up as well, and also enjoying a lot of Dragon Ball Gekishin Squadra. You know, it's on the better side of the free to play spectrum as far as games out right now that you can enjoy. Fun little MOBA that's kind of like, you know, we talked about it in an earlier show. It's like Pokemon Unite, but with your favorite Dragon Ball characters. Good times.
Right, Gekishin Squadra has been one of those games that. So I'm finishing up the final side quests and the last leg of the story in Digimon. I'm about it's since I did all the side quests, it ended up being about. I think I'm clocking in at about 45 hours. It'll probably be like 50 by the time I'm done with the playthrough. But I gotta say, Gekishin Squadra, every so often I'm like, you know what, I'm done. Because, like I said in my review, it's a Digimon game, guys, and sometimes you're just going to get to points where you're just like, well, it's time to grind, and then you have to grind up like 3 or 4 million times. And you RPG logic. And there is just that time, there comes the time where you're like, I just can't watch this turn-based shit anymore. And
you hit the wall.
I hit the wall, and I just, you know, it's time for some Gekishin Squadra, right? Like,
yeah, really break up the monotony instead of, you know, press X simulator.
Doing the Gekishin Squadra have been very, very fun. Been eyeballing a few games such as Pokemon ZA. I'm still on the fence about that. It's that versus Ghost of Yote, but I don't know if Ghost of Yote is going to be one of those ones that creeps up on me on sale for Black Friday. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that might be a good time to pick up that bad boy. You know, there's going to be some good holiday sales coming up here in the final quarter of the year.
I'm not gonna lie, that's what I'm waiting on Battlefield on.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you'll hear it later in the skate review that we've got planned coming up towards, you know, later in the show. Yeah, EA is kind of on everyone's shit list, right under Microsoft.
Yeah, I mean, I will say it definitely isn't a big factor on the end product. People seem to be loving Battlefield.
Yeah, no, so, I've heard pretty good conversations. A lot of people are starting to get into it. You know, people around me in my vicinity are definitely like, yeah, I might, you know, purchase an Xbox so I can play Battlefield or something, or play with my friends because my friends like it and I want to play that game that they enjoy. So yeah, I've always been a Battlefield over Call of Duty guy anyway. Yeah. So after playing the betas and reviewing them here on the show, definitely something I'm interested in picking up and enjoying very soon.
Because I will say, at the end of the day, that the big scale military shooter is pretty cool. And like I said, like I think both you and I came to the consensus that, like, you know, this Battlefield game, it's not like doing anything particularly special. You know, it's just a solid Battlefield game.
Yeah, which it feels like we haven't had in a while. You know, at least, you know, I really enjoyed Battlefield 1. But yeah, it's like a bit of a return to form in the like modern era instead of these period piece fantasy romps.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, after what, like Battlefield 1 and things like that?
Yeah, and then
World
What,
War II.
5 was World War II, and then the 2048 or whatever.
Oh yeah.
They really polished that one up, didn't they?
They what is it? That's the like the Street Fighter 5 of the Battlefield franchise,
Yeah.
where you're like,
It got-
where it got better
got-
later,
Later.
way later. Like,
Patch at a time. Isn't that right, Cyberpunk?
I mean, I don't know if it's like a Cyberpunk comeback. That was kind of like a big deal. That Cyberpunk comeback had Idris Elba, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like-
Phantom Liberty.
The Phantom Liberty. But Drix, I don't know if I wouldn't call this a comeback, because we are once again going to talk about Xbox as we are jumping into the gaming news.
Yeah, lay it on me, brother.
So,
What's on the agenda for the Xbox talk?
I mean, I'm gonna tell you, Drix, because Sarah Bond, the Xbox president, she spoke with Variety this week. And, while the headline is "The Ally Arrives," Xbox President Sarah Bonds explains new handheld steep price, prioritizing, quote, Windows experience and next-gen console plans heading into 2026. When you read the article, it offers much more kind of philosophically for those who want a little bit more to chew on, and for maybe people like you and I who are a little bit more savvy to the industry.
Yeah, okay. Where is Xbox spiritually,
Right, exactly. And so from the article, quote, we're gonna start off, honestly, here on CFM, we're gonna start off hitting the price hard. So from the article, quote, first up, Xbox President Sarah Bond tells Variety the price tags for the Ally $599 and the Ally X $599.99 and the Ally X $999.99 were determined with guidance from manufacturer Asus based on features. Quote, we looked at how do we create multiple options for people, and it really was Asus, because this is their hardware, Bond said Thursday during a launch event for the Ally devices. Quote, all of their insight into the market, into the feature set, into what people want to determine the ultimate prices of the devices.
Ooh, man. So they had to split it into two different hardware sets, the Ally and the Ally X, with the
It's all about
Ally
choice.
coming in at $1,000, $1K.
It's all about choice, Drix.
Yeah, a band, a rack, what have you.
A G.
Yep, a cool G, daddy-o.
Yeah, cool G, daddy. That is and again, this is kind of one of those things that, I don't know about you, but it took me off guard when I read it, because I hate to be the guy who's like not giving them a charitable shot, but this kind of sounds like a deflection, man. It kind of sounds like, hey man, you know what, this price shit, this was out of our hands.
Oh yeah, no, that we didn't do that. Asus did that.
Yeah, they it's their product, like
All right, you just put your name on it to sell it to me.
to sell it to me. And reading further, quote, while not an internally made product, Bond insists it is an Xbox through and through. Whether you're a more casual gamer and want an Ally, or a hardcore gamer who is eyeing an Ally X. Quote, we want to make sure people have a choice, Bond says. We want to make sure there's an options for the power players who want the latest innovations and that want to push the edge of what's possible, the most demanding players. And then, if someone is looking for PC gaming on the go, they're a casual gamer. They're a gaming enthusiast, then there's Xbox Allies for them, giving multiple choices for people, so we can actually meet people where they are. Drix, see, it's all about choice, man. Come on.
Yeah, we're gonna give you the choice to give us more money.
Yeah, we'll give you the choice, because, listen, you're not a power gamer, right?
Yeah, it just sounds pretty like the ego of a nerd,
Like, see, that's the thing that
The average GameStop employee.
That's what's killing me about this, and we're gonna get into it a little bit later in this very readback of this article. But one of the main reasons why I chose the story was because, man, oh man, I think you hit the nail on the head. This like elitist attitude, like, hey man, you're just a casual, right? You just want some PC gaming on the go.
Enjoy. Parry this, casual.
Yeah, it's like, but what about the $1,000? Hey, that's for power players.
Yeah, what are you, some kind of real gamer?
Yeah, they want the latest innovations and they want to push the edge of what's possible. Like, you don't want to do that, do you? You just want some PC gaming on the go. Like, this doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, like, well, I mean, maybe if you have a strong enough internet connection, you can like stream all the real heavy hitters with your Game Pass subscription.
God, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Actually, I didn't even think about it like that. Oh my God.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider entering the Xbox ecosystem unless you plan on keeping that, recently jacked up Game Pass subscription.
And but here's the thing, Drix. Bond, they're talking. She's talking about their next gen hardware and calls the ROG Ally, quote, an opportunity to innovate in a new way and to bring gamers another choice in addition to our next gen hardware. We are always listening to what players and creators want. When there is a demand for innovation, we're going to build it. So, Drix, the ROG and the ROG Ally, it's an Xbox through and through. But this isn't the next generation.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they have some hidden plans of like bridging the gap, and maybe you can use these as controllers for your next gen Xbox.
This is just an opportunity to innovate, Drix. Okay?
Yeah, grow the industry, right? By closing
Hey, $1,000 to grow the industry. Right there.
Please.
From you.
Please me now. Money me needing.
And because here's the thing. Finally, Bond comes out and says the launch of the Xbox Ally and Ally X comes on the heels of Variety comes right out and asks Bond. The launch of the Xbox and Ally X comes on the heels of several price increases at Xbox for both consoles and its Game Pass subscription service, and just before the holiday season, when Xbox has a slate of much-anticipated AAA game launches to come, including Call of Duty Black Ops 7 and Outer Worlds 2. Outer Worlds 2, the AAA frenzy, huh?
Yeah.
Bond notes this frenzy of releases and business updates are, quote, the start of a new pace the team is executing.
Yeah, we're really whipping those employees into shape.
We're whipping these up.
More content.
Here's the quote from Sarah Bond. There's a ton more innovation to come, including things like further optimizing the experience here, scaling out the handheld compatibility program, offering more benefits and improvements to the experience, and other features and ads that we're going to give to people, and more choices and more games. That was kind of a word salad sentence in there in a minute. It kind of confused me as I was reading it, because we're going to give other features and ads that we're going to give people, and more choices and more games. So what are we doing here, Ms. Bond?
Yes. We're giving you more of everything because you love it and want it, yes? Yes.
What are we getting more of exactly? Like, that's what... I'm confused.
We're just going to increase that output because line only go up.
Yeah, and honestly, Drix, from the looks and the sounds of all of this, that's exactly the vibe that I'm getting. It's just, listen, we're making more things, and we're just making everything that we can.
Yep.
And if
more
you don't buy it, great. If you do buy it, please get Game Pass.
Yeah, exactly.
So, another foray into Xbox. I'm definitely not going to be able to pick up one of these little devices So I won't be able to give you any impressions on it, but I will leave everybody with this. For $1,000, you could get a near top end PC. And
Yeah.
while you might not have the form factor, I do believe the Steam Deck plays Game Pass games.
Yeah. Right? There you go. So good luck growing the industry against your real competition out there in the handheld market, Xbox.
Yeah, I mean, because that's honestly, Drix. Before we move on to our next segment, that's really the choice, right? Is like, are you gonna spend $1,000 for this handheld, or are you gonna just buy a fucking Switch 2?
Yeah, at half the price, so you can Mario while you poop.
Yeah, right, exactly. Or if you really want your PC gaming fix, are you really not just gonna get a Steam Deck?
Yeah, or just a whole ass PC for that price.
Yeah, for $1,000, $1,000.
Yeah, no, I've been gaming pretty good on my 5-year-old $400 laptop too. So
yeah, see, like that's one
the
of the
HP
things.
Lovecraft Pavilion.
Yeah, that's one of the things that is interesting, where when it comes to the ecosystem for PC, it seems to be getting kind of bloated as far as compatibility, because I don't know everything that is and is not compatible, but I'll say it like this: I don't know if the general public is going to view a cloud version of a game as necessarily compatible, or like the type of the version that or the version of the game that I was thinking that I was going to get, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I scroll past a lot of articles saying, "Oh, hey, this game is finally Steam Deck compatible." You know, it's a whole other topic of research that, a lot of people may not even want to spend the time doing.
So, the PC ecosystem, definitely cool if you have a cool computer, but any one of these other little devices that's like kicking around everywhere, you're probably in for a rough ride, at least now, because of just the fact that it's still like the new kid on the block. Like none of this stuff is really optimized for these essentially handheld mini PCs, right? So
Yeah, bit of a luck of the draw scenario when you pick one of those, but you probably can't go wrong with the Switch 2, right?
yeah, you probably can't go wrong with Switch 2. At least there's going to be some good games on it. You probably can't go wrong with a Steam Deck. You could at least mod the shit out of it. So
Yeah, and chances are you've already got a Steam library.
Yeah.
So you need to buy additional games if you've been buying games.
So Xbox ROG Ally, Sarah Bond coming out and saying that you're just going to get more of everything, and we're absolutely working on next gen, but this isn't next gen, but it is an Xbox, but it's Asus's thing through and through.
Yep. Any blame can be placed on them and not us.
And not us. So
Right.
that is the latest out of Camp Xbox. But now, Drix, I do believe you played a game that you wanted to give your impressions on, and I don't know if it was all that you thought it was going to be cracked up to be.
Yeah. If you want to get right into it, we will be talking Skate, the new free-to-play online multiplayer skateboarding experience based on what is now a classic franchise. So the thing that made Skate different, compared to like a Tony Hawk game, and probably like the best part of this game as a whole, is the trick system that utilizes the right stick to do flips. You pull back and then flick it forward to ollie, and then depending on which directions you decide to flip it in, that's the kind of trick you do. That is awesome. That is cool. That is a lot of fun, and is also a staple of the franchise. But it's probably where the compliments will end as far as this review goes. Because
really?
yeah, I'll start with like the atmosphere first, because the graphics in previous Skate games, they were a bit more like realistic looking. This Skate gets kind of like the Team Fortress 2 treatment, where it's just kind of cartoony. You know, everything's kind of glazed over. There's a lot of map. There's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of stuff to do. But creatively, visually, artistically, I think, you know, this new Saudi Arabian company, Electronic Arts, who you may have heard of, I think they really missed the mark for skate culture and what skateboarding and skateboarders are really about, you know?
Does it feel almost like they're just cashing in on it?
Yeah, kind of. It feels like a reboot, you know, or like a Netflix adaptation of something that, like, you know, was once classic. You know, if they redo it, you should probably go watch the original or play the original in this case. So yeah, this definitely makes me want to pick up a 360 version of like Skate 3 and go enjoy that instead. And you kind of think, as far as skateboarding games, like, oh, it should at least have like a banger soundtrack, right? Well, you see, the people that make FIFA and Madden, or I guess, you know, FC 24, 25, and like the WWE games, yeah, the soundtrack really does sound like a FIFA game, for better or worse. You know, I'm pretty open-minded musically. I accepted hip-hop and skateboarding, you know, in the early 2000s. There's a lot of great music out there. A lot of good rappers making songs you might want to skate to. But it's a little too mainstream, especially for me. But there's a lot of just like weird like pop songs, and like I'm not the biggest fan of like indie rock, or what I like to categorize in my genre mind as hipster trash. But so I literally had to go in and pick out like the good songs that I like. There's, of course, you have to have a Bad Religion song in your skateboarding game. There's like a song by like the Vandals and some other kind of more amped up like punk or like rock songs. And a couple good hip hop classics too. They separated into different playlists. So yeah, I definitely had to comb through that and like pick my favorites and kind of like separate out everything I didn't want to hear. There was even a song with like a banjo or like a mandolin, or that's sounded very like Mumford and Sons, and I was like, this is not making me want to skateboard right now, guys.
Yeah, I kind of need some high octane.
Yeah, I'm trying to get amped up before I do these sweet tricks.
Yeah.
And
I'm not trying to get to the hoedown.
And getting into the nitty-gritty now, the physics. Whenever you make a sports simulation, extreme or otherwise, you need the physics to be on point and feel good. And I think I am echoing IGN and pretty much anybody else that I've talked to about playing this game. The physics are not meeting the mark. You can see right now in the B-roll, I'm like struggling to hit like this line, and there's one rail I just keep trying to ollie over, because the challenge is like collect all the bearings, and it looks pretty obviously like, okay, you're supposed to jump over this rail. Poor guy cannot get high enough when doing his ollie, and yeah, you better forget about doing a flip trick over that, because you're eating concrete either way. So transversing and moving around is like, it's pretty fun, but until you need to do something really specific, like this particular line, it feels like nobody tested this. Like nobody measured how high you can ollie and like if this challenge was even possible. And by the time I actually finish it, by the time I complete the challenge, I have to like do some weird like stall on the rail just to jump over it, and like really lose any kind of like momentum or like style, you know. Especially working on music with the band, there's a saying we say a lot called style over everything, and it applies a lot to video games too. I mean, it's not about what you play, but how cool you look playing it, you know. You don't need it. There it is. There's me just trying to get over these rails and finish this challenge. But yeah, there's a lot of, especially like some old head kind of skaters, they'll say skateboarding is not a sport. You know, like it's weird that people have these contests and like judge each other when it's really about like, did you land it clean, or was it a little sloppy, or like how cool did you look landing this trick? Like, oh yeah, that was satisfying because you had a clean landing. And yeah, it is tough because it feels like you can never get enough speed. The game claims like, oh, you only need to push twice and then you're going as fast as you can. But I am kicking the entire time and I feel like I am not getting the speed that I need to do what I need to do in the game sometimes. And like it definitely feels more centered around street skating, like stairs and rails and little kickers, because yeah, and the vert ramp action is just really heavy. Like they just turned up the gravity, and for whatever reason I don't feel like I can catch air coming out of a vert ramp no matter how fast I'm going. And you even slow down like as you come back down into the vert ramps, which like doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, wait a minute, what?
Yeah, it's weird. Like I'm flying towards this vert ramp, but as soon as I go vertical, I just slow down and can't catch any air, which really emphasizes how kind of like out of touch with skate culture that this EA game is, you know?
Yeah, it sounds like there's just no sense of momentum.
Yeah, and even my girlfriend picked it up for like 15 minutes and said, yeah, no, I'm not coming back to that because I can't go fast enough, I can't ollie high enough, and it's just not working. You know, so that's not going to get her off of Dota 2 or Team Fortress Classic and other free-to-play games that you could also be spending your time on.
Yeah, because that's the thing, right? Like this is it's supposed to be quote unquote accessible because it's free to play, but it's sounding like it doesn't really even live up to the expectations of being a skateboarding simulator. So what are the free to play or paid premium elements?
Yeah, loot boxes. Hope you love them.
Oh my god.
Yeah, kind of. And I mean, you're seeing some footage right now of me doing like a stunt challenge where you're just off the board and like throwing yourself into, you know, just slamming your body into things for fun, landing in trash cans and the like. Which is kind of fun, but also like not skateboarding really. So yeah, I couldn't even put a mohawk on my character, so that's really out of skateboarding. But yeah, other than that, because like the physics aren't really all there or don't feel like what they should be, it's really just a lot of freemium fluff to this game, you know? So you earn these little points or like tickets or whatever, and then you can open up these loot boxes. And I didn't really notice all the brands at first, but because they're probably all behind paywalls and stuff. Like if you want to wear a pair of Vans in your skateboarding game, like you might have to pay extra, but is it even worth it? I remember being really excited when I first heard about this. Oh no, a free-to-play multiplayer online skateboarding game where I can go skate with my friends. Like that sounds awesome. Like fast forward, 6 or 7 years later, and yeah, I don't know if I can get anybody to play this with me.
Oh my god.
Right?
Oh wow.
So yeah, it feels like a lot of freemium fluff going on, and yeah, again, just really out of touch with skateboarding and skate culture as a whole. No Mohawk, when every other game I can play, I can make Mohawk Guy my go-to character.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm gonna give it a score out of 5, which feels a little hasty because it's in early access, but also they've had an 8-year development cycle, and you'd think this game would be finished. So I am, with all hopes and dreams, I hope the score changes and they give it a good, couple good patches and really get the game where it needs to be, because this could be a lot of fun and I really want to enjoy it. But as of today, October 22nd, 2025, I am giving this game a 2 out of 5.
Ooh, a 2 out of 5.
Yeah, it's taken a little bit of effort to have fun times, and even when it's good, I'm still just, am I sure I'm having fun, or am I just doing this because I like skateboarding? And will I just pick up Tony Hawk 3 and 4 or Skate 3 because I've played this and it made me hunger for something more substantial?
Well, it's unfortunate that it was such a terrible disappointment, especially a game that you were looking forward to, a game that you really wanted to, that you actually did want to enjoy, that
Yeah.
that you were looking to get into potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a classic trick system, but unfortunately, Skate, it's not great.
Yeah, Skate is not great. You heard it here on CFM Radio. 2 out of 5 from Drix. Is there
Wearing
anything else?
It's like you're wearing concrete shoes on a board made of brick.
Oh, Jesus, man. Brutal. Brutal is what I have to say to that. That's Skate. Might want to just steer clear. If you're thinking about playing a free-to-play game, try another one.
Yep, because boy, am I glad I did not pay for this one. Yeah, it's the Battlefield Star Wars Battlefront 2 treatment as far as buy all the extras and try to enjoy the game.
And that, again, everybody, is some brutal stuff from Drix. It's unfortunate. No one really wants the game to be bad. No one really sets out to make a bad game, but
especially skateboarding. Skateboarding's cool, man.
Yeah, skateboarding's awesome, and it sucks because you would think that, like me and Drix were saying, this thing is like almost a 10-year development cycle.
Yeah. Whew.
So that's Skate, not great. We will, after this, we're going to take a break. And Drix, what are we going to play?
Right now, we're going to take you on back to the Sega CD, and we're going to listen to a song called Taking to the Air, like I wish I could in Skate, from The Terminator.
Taking to the Air. CFM Radio.
Love my little bus walking glitch.
Yeah. We'll be back. CFM Radio, we are back.
We're back, and in case you didn't catch the beginning or main theme of that one, that was Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue for the PS1. You know, Lightspeed, like I wish I had playing Skate.
It's Power Rangers, though. It's not in Skate. It's in Power Rangers on the PS1. Yes.
Please rescue me from going slow and not getting enough air.
The Lightspeed rescue me. And Drix, I don't know about you, but my wallet is thin, so it does not need rescuing. But if your wallet is buff and your money needs rescuing, well, guys, I think it's time to talk new releases.
Yes, there's always something.
Stop.
Yep, they keep coming, and we're here to keep telling you what's to buy.
And we don't tell you what to buy, but we will give you what we think are the most interesting or high-profile releases of the week. And you know what, Drix? We're going to talk high-profile right now, because the first one up is one of the most high-profile franchises for us millennials. It is.
Yeah.
Once Upon a Katamari.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, this profile kind of starts really small, but then gets a lot bigger.
From the Steam page, quote, once upon a time, a Katamari rolled through both past and present. In this story across time, the adage endures, let the good times roll. Now onward through new Katamari worlds, to roll up thy heart's desires, and to restore the stars.
Nice. I would indeed like to let the good times roll with this one.
And you will soon. Once Upon a Katamari releases this Friday, October 24th, for PC, PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC.
Yeah, can't wait to hear the soundtrack to this one, too.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have a better soundtrack than Skate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And next up in our new releases, this one's a quirky one, but it absolutely is a gamer fan favorite, I believe at least. Because it is the Angry Video Game Nerd 8-bit.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. You know, guy rants about video games on the internet and eventually gets his own game.
Yeah. And from the Steam page, quote, the Angry Video Game Nerd is back in 8 bits. Battle through frantic platforming levels, defeat classic AVGN bosses, and save all of gaming from a corrupted monstrosity. The Angry Video Game Nerd 8-bit releases tomorrow, Thursday, October 23rd, for PC, PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch.
Man, it feels good that you know, there's a kind of a modern take on all these classic Nintendo hard tropes, you know, looking like Man and Metroid and stuff. And you know, limited run games, they can't really go wrong with a lot of their catalog.
Not the catalog. Their distribution is a little shit, but their catalog is great.
Yeah, no, expect to wait like a year if you buy something physically.
And finally, Drix. Yeah, dude. My copy of Off is never going to get here. Finally, we've got Dreamed Away.
I hope this is the kind of game you've dreamed of.
Well, we're going to find out from the Steam page, quote, Dreamed Away is an emotional action-adventure RPG with psychological horror elements. Play as Theo, a boy lost in a dark, mysterious world. Explore a unique reality, duel against darkness in a unique, fast-paced combat system, and mind your choices. Dreamed Away releases tomorrow, Thursday, October 23rd, for PC, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. One of the rare ones, Drix. It's not coming out for PlayStation.
Whoa, that's crazy. And it definitely looks like Earthbound walked so that Dreamed Away could run.
Right.
You know, thank Mother series.
Thank the mother, as we would say.
The trilogy.
Nah, and that is our suite of new release games. Drix, again, pretty interesting spread of games, from a couple of high-profile ones to, I mean, Angry Video Game Nerd and Katamari, to a game that is not only interesting and dreamed away, but is also interesting in that it's not coming out on a PlayStation.
Yeah, that is really unique in today's landscape, and also a good pick for the spooky season with some
Yes.
psychological pixel horror.
Yes. But speaking of psychological pixel horror, I'm going to take the pixel out of that because it sounds like we've got a pixel jam going on in the back here, Drix. What is it?
This is from Gain Ground for the Sega Genesis. This is called Causing Brave Men's Themes.
This is Causing Brave Men's Themes. You're listening to CFM Radio. Make sure you give us a like, subscribe if you love us. If you hate us, tell us why in the comments.
Clusterfucked Media.
We'll be back.
CFM Radio.
CFM Radio, we are back.
We are back, and again, spooky season. Silent Hill music. That was from Silent Hill 3, a song called You're Not Here, But We Are.
Sweet banger of a track. Gotta love that old school, PS2?
Yeah, no, that was a PS2 banger right there.
The old school PS2 banger, PS2 era banger right there. There, you do. I don't know if anybody listening has ever taken the time to go back and listen to some PS2 era jams. And I'm not just talking about Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. There's a lot.
Yeah, we're Tuxedo Snake from Metal Gear Solid 2 right now. Speaking of,
there you go. There's a lot of really good stuff on the PS2 as far as.
If you're playing Persona 3 Reloaded, you definitely have some 2000s hip hop going on.
You are if you're jamming to that, you're jamming to the 2000s.
Yeah, you're basically there still.
And we're going to close the night out with a bit of an interesting story, Drix.
Oh yeah, that's all we do here.
And this news, I don't mean to be hyperbolic, but this news headline should worry pretty much everybody because, there's a lot of talk about AI. And our friends over at Tech Raptor, they have this headline. And the headline itself may shock you. It is, quote, over 500 Steam Next Fest titles using generative AI.
Oh no. Think of the environmental costs.
Environmental costs worse than a field of all natural almonds. Worse than flying a jet from here to Tokyo 3 times around.
Mm-hmm. The methane of 1,000 cows.
Yes, indeed. And listen, the media outlet took it upon themselves to catalog how many games utilized this generative AI and an estimation of their impact. And it all gets kind of dicey, so we're going to jump right into it. From the article, quote, by pulling the information from Steam about which Next Fest titles had enabled the AI-generated content disclosure, we discovered that over 500 demos disclosed to using AI. The data here is necessarily imperfect, as it only counts the games that have disclosed AI usage. As we saw with games like The Alters and Hotel Barcelona, some games will not disclose it on the Steam page, but do use or had used generative AI. In the case of The Alters, their Steam page doesn't disclose that the game previously had generative AI content used in development.
Yikes. Yeah, why you hiding? What you got to hide?
I mean, if it's there, it's there. That's one of the things that's interesting here is that you could enter your game while it had generative AI utilization, let's say, but you could opt into saying that you had it and just admitting it.
Yeah, that's a interesting checkbox one could tick.
It is interesting, but I think it makes your point even more interesting, Drix. Why lie?
Yeah, that's not really helping anybody. Because, I figure the only reason you would do that is if, you're afraid people won't play your game or buy it because of the use of AI. And if you're worried about that, maybe you just shouldn't use it.
Yeah, figure, might not be a good idea.
Comes up a lot in, music and art. It's like, I'm not paying for this at all if, you're just using your plagiarism calculator to make slop.
Yeah. And reading further, quote, the exact total of games disclosing generative AI was 507 games out of the 2,960 titles in Steam Next Fest. By briefly examining their AI-generated content disclosure, we found out that several of them had situations that left us unsure about their usage of generative AI in the making or marketing of their game, giving us a new total of 504 games. This gave us a percentage of 17.03, which is close to 1 in 5 games.
A fifth? Yeah.
That's a lot of people using generative AI, Drix.
Yeah, I understand making art is hard, and we've been using artificial intelligence in games for years to make our smarter,
Yeah.
But like I said earlier in the Skate review, man, style over everything, and you're never gonna get, even a bad artist is gonna have more style than AI generated stuff.
And I think you make a really good point, Drix. You make an incredibly good point. The video games industry almost is one of the more qualified industries to be utilizing this kind of technology in, let's say, in an equitable way, right?
Yeah, like what even is like a roguelike game without just an algorithm calculating? Yeah.
Exactly. So it's not, if you've been, this is one of the things that I tell a lot of capital G gamers, let's say, right? I tell if you're against AI, it's like, dude, are you against like Super Nintendo games? Like
they were trying.
You know what I mean? And like a lot of those
at doing it, but they were doing
that LLM technology, right? A lot of the technology that today's LLMs are based on is almost one for one the same thing from the 90s, except instead of it being confined to a Super Nintendo cartridge, it can access the internet.
Yeah, and just scrape it clean for all it's worth.
Yeah, just scrape all the data and like figure out what you're trying to say. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, reading further, quote, the most popular game that had AI generated content that had an AI generated content disclosure, was the one I am about to put up on screen right now, called Cloudheim by Noodlecat Games. It broke into the top 50 of the Steam Next Fest October 2025 most played demos and had a max concurrent user count of 667, which is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean that's not bad. I mean,
for a demo?
Yeah, those definitely are visuals and something to look at.
But here's the thing, Drix. The developer claims that its use of AI was not in the development of the game itself. They claimed to have built a AI chatbot.
Huh.
Here's the quote. Our primary use of generative AI is for internal communication. We made a bot called InfoSage, which helps us search our documentation, notify others of interesting discussions, and look through recent changes to pinpoint where bugs occur. Our developers can choose to use generative AI as part of an iterative exploratory process, but the decision of how and when is left up to individuals, and the final product always reflects the creativity and expression of our own development team. No people have been replaced by AI. This includes artists and engineers on our team, voice actors, localization, or other roles. So that's what Noodlecat said.
Okay, yeah, that's acceptable. They'll tell you, and it sounds like they just needed a little secretary to take meeting notes for their updates, so their development team can keep track of all their work.
And I think that's ultimately where this whole AI thing is going to go. I ultimately believe that you're going to have situations like Cloudheim that become more and more and more common, and AI isn't going to be really used. Generative AI isn't going to be really used to create the asset, right? Or ideate the aesthetic, right?
Or the environment or whatever.
Right. It will just be there for note taking, or even I think if you're talking AI implemented into the video game itself, I think that's probably just texture smoothing.
Yeah. Or make pretend text adventure where you type something in and it can just come up with a reply.
Yeah, and that reply just interacts with what you say, like.
Yeah, infinite dialogue options, sure.
Right, exactly. So, I think, I definitely think that's where the future of AI will be. I don't think it's going to be in quote unquote your game, but it will be. You're going to be needing to utilize it in the way that Noodle Cat is, in that, like, hey, here's like your AI secretary. Here's a secretary bot.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to be the most efficient they can be by having a little, Jarvis personal assistant or whatever. Your Series, your
I even
Gemini.
hear a lot of indie game developers saying that Copilot is great for checking your code.
Yeah, having another set of eyes on your work, making sure you didn't mess anything up or put anything out that's subpar. Yeah, that Copilot's definitely getting more and more involved in the like kind of business spaces.
Yeah. So I definitely believe that it's going to be in that kind of vein where you're going to see a lot. And as we're winding down here, we want to make sure that, it's a big deal that so many games are utilizing this technology. 1 in 5, right? Like, 1 in 5 utilize generative AI in some way during development. And there is an argument to be made that you should just straight up not use it. But I think you and I both agree the fact of the matter is it's just, A, it's here to stay. And B, the video games industry is one of those industries that already uses a lot of these algorithmic delivery mechanisms. So when you're enhancing something that the industry is already good at, I think that's a pretty good idea. This is one of those things where like your girlfriend's texting you a chat GPT response, right?
Yeah, no, you're not dating the OS, hopefully. Like, I don't care how much you like Cortana.
Yeah, no, she's not your girlfriend.
Yeah, no, don't try not to cross that line. But, I would prefer it not to like poison my air and water and drive up my electric bill.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely here to stay in the gaming field.
Yeah, and I think that when you're moving forward, I think the opt-in for, hey, we're using generative AI is a really, really good idea. But I think that as Tech Raptor has discovered, that you really need to kind of, or at least be open to the idea of when you take this type of survey, if you're like Steam, right, and you're taking this type of survey, tell us what you're using the generative AI assets for.
Yeah, that'll just put us all at ease, make us all feel a lot better, and help everybody sleep at night.
Yeah,
knowing
exactly.
you got fired for you to make this.
Yes, exactly.
Use this tool. You didn't fire the carpenter and jack his hammer.
In the world of Microsoft and other tech companies coming out and saying we're going to lay off millions of people because of AI, having the transparency that we do, or trying to strive, I should say, for transparency like this is something that really is it makes me optimistic.
Yeah. So thanks, Noodle Cat.
Yeah, thanks, Noodle Cat. You use your Jarvis.
Mm-hmm. And nobody had to lose their job.
Yeah. But that will do it for us on CFM Radio. Thank you all for tuning in, listening. Always leave us a like, comment, tell us why you love us, tell us why you hate us.
Tell me what you want to hear next week on our extra spooky Halloween edition of the show. I've been trying to keep the horror theme going all month long, but if there's anything out there you want to hear that'll give you a scare, let me know and I'll drop it on the spooky show next week.
And with that, I do believe it's time for us to get out of here, Drix.
Yes. Thanks again for watching. It's always a pleasure to have you here, and we will see you next week for more video game music and news.
Video game music and news. Thank Thank you, everybody. Play more games. Good night.